Welcome everyone to Dining with
Not
a
yet, boo.
Purpose.
Not yet, boo.
All right. It says now we're meeting. We're live, Keisha.
Oh,
So everyone, welcome to Dining with a Purpose with Ursula and
Keisha Thompson.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
I'm Ursula Asmoon. This is Keisha Thompson. So we are dining with a purpose, and I'm looking at my sheet over here. We get together. This is our second show. Thank God for our second show. The last one was great. So we get together to talk about food and how it affects our community and different forms of art, from visual to films to books, whatever kind of art that we feel, music, anything. All right. So that's what we do, dining with a purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
So along with dining with a purpose, like she said, we check out what we're eating for the day. So I am going to start first this week. I want to talk a little bit about how I eat, right? So I tend to kind of stress eat sometimes. And this is a real thing. I am putting it out there. I can be a little bit of an emotional eater. So I kind of got off my little nutrition plan. So I am eating catfish. I am eating catfish and French fries. But I will say, throughout the course of the past couple of weeks, I have been dairy free, right? What we know is that dairy tends to cause a lot of inflammation within the body because it's a buildup of mucus. So dairy free has been my theme, my agenda for the past couple of weeks. It has been difficult, I have to say, because dairy is in everything. So I do have my, and I'm not going to show y'all what it looks like, but it's good. And I also have me a little grape henny grape.
Grape.
I tried to name it.
So what is it? Oh, grapefruit.
Grapefruit and henny.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Get it?
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, what I'm eating is I had a big healthy lunch, so I decided to go really light. So I'm eating some hummus and my favorite tortilla chips. They are late July. Yes, it's a big bag. Thanks God for Costco. These chips are, what do they call them? They're life-giving.
Absolutely.
All right. And I am drinking what I normally always drink. Yes, love my glass. Red wine. There we go. And that's it.
Yeah. So like Ursula said, we want to thank you all for tuning in with us again. We had a beautiful and warm welcome last week or a couple of weeks ago when we went over the documentary Little White Lie by Lacey Schwartz Delgado. And I thank all of those people that also viewed the documentary afterwards, because we got a huge response of people wanting to chime in thereafter. So just a reminder, this is an interactive conversation. So we'll see your questions, and if you're comfortable with it, we'll chime you in, like actually have you join us in the Facebook Live and have a discussion. But before we begin and go into the trailer of Iceberg Slim, Portrait of a Pimp, we are going to give a shout out to our sponsors that we have. Yes, we have sponsors. Our first one is Home Sweet Home Treats. Yes, by Miss Indigo Williams herself. She has beautiful, delicious treats, right? Chocolate chip, she has sugar cookie, she has brownie, she has parfaits, and they are all vegan. Let me say that again. They are all vegan. So definitely look up Home Sweet Home Treats and support, because she is supporting us as well. And we're going to give another shout out to our other sponsor, AP Media Group, who is responsible for this beautiful lighting and the setup. AP Media Group is a creative digital platform owned, created, directed, and owned by Mr. Jerry Williams. So definitely look him up. He is amazing. So before we hit it, give you a brief little background of what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we have Iceberg Slim, Portrait of a Pimp. Portrait of a Pimp. And we also have a special guest that's going to be joining us tonight. Quan, the crime novelist himself, will be here to discuss a little bit about what he has going on and his contribution to the documentary. So we're going to get right into it. We have a lot to discuss. We're going to start first with the trailer. So hopefully you all were able to get a good look in it. So here we go. Beautiful bean. Footage up. Coming up. Here we go. Here we go. And I'm excited that I don't have to press the play button.
Okay, y'all ready?
Here we go.
Iceberg Slim is the name that is synonymous with the pimp game and wrote books that I grew up on. Runs the ladies, has the clothes, the jewelry.
A lot of people think that pimps are dummies. That's not true. They're just perverted.
Pimp had a big impact on the game. It gives basic instructions of how to play the game. They were just fascinated.
He really laid out how flamboyant and how fly this lifestyle can be.
Was held in regard like an athlete or entertainer. It's a tough sport.
In this book, I will take you, the reader, with me into the secret inner world of the pimp.
Our guest masquerades under the name of Iceberg Slim. He continues to hide his identity.
His books tell the truth about the life. Pimp was the first real Black experience put into a book.
Yeah, I checked it out. The P-I-M-P.
Slim's writing is so vivid, he makes it all inescapable.
He was incarcerated in Leavenworth.
No more small towns for me. I was going to the city to get my degree in pimping.
He really tells you where this pimp is from and what has made this pimp.
He was more or less like a hero.
He wanted that thrill of controlling a stable of women. What you do literally is play God.
All right. Another thing I wanted to point out, we forgot to mention is that so this documentary can be found on Amazon Prime videos, and then also the actual book that this documentary references, which is his life story, can be found on. You can actually listen to it for free on YouTube. Now, I do warn you, it is 11 hours to listen to the book. So, but it will give you more in-depth information in reference to him and his lifestyle and the things that he went through. So just wanted to let you know that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this. Portrait of a Pimp. Just first reactions all together. So what was you thinking about it?
What was I thinking about? The first thing that came to mind is, for me, is just the lifestyle. That was the first thing. Just thinking about his lifestyle, the path that he went on, how did he get there, you know, why, all of that. That's the major thing that stood out to me.
Right. Got it. It was a shock though, right? It was very interesting for me just to find out a little bit more about it. So what I like is, you know, being able to go in there just kind of blinded and see whatever I get out of it. So that was the most interesting part about it for me. So I didn't know what to expect. I mean, how often do you read stories about pimps, right? And they give you like the lowdown, like the real gritty to what that is. So definitely.
Okay. So do you think it would have been different if they had like some experts or anything like that? I mean, do you think anything was missing, you know, from it? I mean, comparing it to the documentary that we did 2 weeks ago, you know, one of the things I pointed out is that, you know, they needed an expert. Right. Not with this one.
Well, first, let me say this. Just to go back to the first one, to understand the story of Iceberg Slim, also known Robert Beck, right? Really laid down the groundwork from what we saw in the video of the documentary for a lot of artists, a lot of entertainers, a lot of writers. This was like their foundational piece, you know, so getting those insights from authors such as Quan, and hearing from Chris Rock and Ice-T, and from other psychologists on there, really gave a different view that we didn't experience from the last documentary, right? You was able to see the inner workings of the mind. So they went a little bit deeper as into what catapulted his career in pimping, where it came from, how it started to where it was going, right? The whole trajectory of it. So I don't think that there was much missing outside of hearing more from the actual prostitutes. Because they only had one, but having more insight from their experience versus what Iceberg Slim gave. But outside of that, they gave they gave good perspectives all the way around.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was very thorough,
right,
from his perspective, and they did have an actual psychologist on there and other authors. But as far as from a woman's perspective, when I say a woman, I mean a prostitute, because they did have both of his wives and his children in the documentary, but they had one prostitute, whatever you want to call her, late in the night, whatever, but they only had one on there. So that was the only thing I feel like was missing was your perspective from it. But other than that, I think it was good.
Okay.
They hit all the avenues.
I want to make sure that I have everybody on here. So let me make sure that we have, because not everybody is linked into.
Well, I did start a watch party.
Okay.
So we have 4 people. Hello, Wesley. That's my brother-in-law, Shatoya, my cousin, and Michael Kirby, and Michelle Goins, my auntie. They're on. Yeah, they're watching too.
Okay, good.
Watch party. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Join you all on there though. All right, so there were a lot of characters, like we said. There were a lot of insight. There was a lot of people within the documentary. With that being said, who did you identify with the most?
Okay, there were 2 guys that I identified the most.
Tell us why.
Okay, so the 2 guys I identified most were Henry Upshaw and Party Time.
Okay.
So background: Henry Upshaw is Robert Beck, aka Iceberg Slim's stepfather. And I identified with him because he was the true definition of a good man. He wasn't trying to be a good man. He was a good man. So in the story, in his life, his father left his mom and met this guy, and he set her up. He got, he had a cleaning business, and so he helped her start her business, got her a building, got her all her equipment, and set her up. He took the boy, he was not his son, took him under his wings, got him in Boy Scouts. I mean, he gave him a stable foundation, something he didn't even have with his actual birth father. So I admire that as a man. And remember, this was like in 1930, 1920s, because they came up from Tennessee in 1918.
Right.
So when we had spoken about this before, I think from that time period, it's difficult for a man. I would think it was difficult for a man. Well, I'm not going to touch on that. We're going to talk about that later. So I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. The other guy, the other person I really could relate to, or I was really feeling, was Party Time. First of all, I love the name. Who don't like a party?
Right.
And then I liked him because he hooked up with Iceberg Slim when he was a teenager, and he introduced him to the game. Now, not the game of pimping, but the game of the con. Okay. And so he took him under his wings, taught him a couple of con games. And of course, eventually you're going to get caught. He didn't snitch on him. When I say he, I mean, Party Time didn't snitch on him. He did the time and, and let it go. And then of course, eventually they met in prison, and he was like, it's all good. I'm not mad at you. It's good. But I just like the fact that he saw him out in them streets, and he just took him under his wing and just, really watched out for him. So those 2 that I really, really enjoyed.
Let's see, who could I identify with.
You liked, you know, you just really like them.
Huh?
Stood out to you.
Oh, I would definitely say Iceberg Slim himself.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I can identify with him, and I don't mean to give big eyes, but what I liked was the inner workings of his mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was strategic. I mean, pimps weren't dumb. Him himself was highly intelligent.
Right.
You know, school was something that he was actually pretty good at. So just seeing the inner workings of his business, what he actually did was really, really good. And also toward the end where you saw him pleading with people to say, hey, look, I live this life, choose another way. So the purpose of the book was to let you know the inner workings of it. Yes, but he said in the documentary, the only thing that he really received from it was the penitentiary and becoming a heroin addict. So it was really, 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 really good. Just hearing that perspective and just
he spoke truth.
He spoke truth.
He spoke truth to them. I mean, he said because you know his point of him giving the story is because he wasn't trying to glorify it. He was trying to let them know when you go down this path, it only leads one way.
Right.
You know, and your game ain't that tight. That you think yours is gonna be your story gonna be different. And so I mean those were his words. So yeah,
right.
that's good.
Right.
That's good. All right. So what do you think would be the major issues? What you know, just the major issues in this documentary, comparing it to the one we watched before. We know what the major issues were with her. What do you think would be the major issues with this documentary?
How his life changed, right? So a huge issue was just looking at what trauma does to an individual. So he talked about being sexually abused, molested at a very young age, and then he saw how his mom reacted with Henry Upshaw, and then with his father, his biological father, then with Henry Upshaw, and then how she got turned out by Steve. That part was really a huge issue for me because it brings up the question on how everyone deals with trauma, the direction you choose to go within your life, right? And the accountability of that, because you being a young child, you don't know much. Right, so that accountability does fall on those that are responsible for you. So, for those that didn't watch it, he was molested by a babysitter starting at the age of 3. And so he had of a woman, it was a woman. So he had that view of a woman. Then he had the view of the woman of his mother. So that would be like the huge issue, essential that I saw within the film.
Well, I think there was one more issue going all the way back when he was a kid. First of all, when his father found out that his wife was having a baby, he wanted to abort it. And then when the baby was born, he was physically abusive. He threw him against the wall trying to kill him.
Right.
So that, for one, that was the first traumatic experience. And even at that age, you remember it. I mean, your body, there's some remembrance in that. So to me, that was the first traumatic experience for him. And then, like you said, the molestation to the babysitter Maud happened when he was 3. I mean, so vividly, he remembers the actual act of it, of him of her forcing him to perform oral sex. And then his mother being, as we say, turned out. And now when we say turned out, we don't mean she became a prostitute, but he left Henry Upshaw, her second husband, to be with a hustler named Steve. Now, we can go really in depth with this. First of all, she's leaving a stable relationship. When I say stable, I mean emotionally, financially, physically. I mean, he is not abusive to her at all. He is standing up as the man, as the head of her home. She is leaving that to be with this hustler.
Right.
Who does not have a job, does not have a home, has nothing but his game. And so for her son to be in this stable relationship and to be, physically pulled from it to go to this, I mean, that was traumatic. And she looked his man is on his knees begging her, please don't leave me. And she looked at this man and said, don't worry, we'll be right back. We'll be back. And for her son to know, mama running game, we're not coming back. And for her to leave that stable relationship to go with this man, of course, he became physically abusive, and beat her down. And, she saw the light, but still for her to be in that relationship and for him to see it, those are the three major issues to me. That's what, to me, what pushed him into that criminal lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's the total disrespect for Black women, or just for women, period. That was the catalyst.
Right.
Yeah. So those issues right there. And I just applaud him for actually just acknowledging them and, really just pointing us to them, period. So remember, you mentioned that the mom. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you think she holds any responsibility to this? To her actions?
Yes, but the question is, does she know if she holds responsibility for it? With that, I do feel that she knows what happens, she knows what goes down, but her actually admitting mm-hmm. that she is responsible for some part of the lifestyle that he chose, because it is a choice, right? Mm-hmm. But she was definitely influenced. Okay. So yeah, because in the film, the mother told the wife that he married, his first wife that he married, that he was no good. That had to stem from somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So she recognized who he was as a person, but she wasn't going to take responsibility for her part that made up his character, because that's all he had. The father figures in his life were absent, including Henry. Henry wanted to be there, but she chose for him not to be around. Mm-hmm. So all he saw was a disrespect from women. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do believe she was aware of who he was as a person, but her taking responsibility for that, she just wasn't going to do.
So is that like the only thing that you see that could, in this actual film, that this viewpoint, as far as any actions that could have been taken to, to move him down another path, or what?
Any actions that could have been taken? Mm-hmm. I mean, the common theme is still choices, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, he still made a choice to do what he did. The difference is he took responsibility for that. And I do feel that he strongly wanted to get out of it. But, when it's something that's all it's really tough to do that. And so if there was someone that was like, hey, I mean, think about his life if they stayed with Henry. Mm-hmm. It would have been something totally different, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do think that he has responsibility for his actions that he would need to take. Because, again, it's still a choice. Still a choice. Mm-hmm. Just like the prostitutes. It's still choices that you make, but there is something that originated there in order to get you to where you are. For sure.
That's you.
I know, right? So real quick though, all right, so tell the people how to get to the online group.
Okay, so if you go to Facebook and you go to my Facebook page, Ursula, EURSELLA, is not there any Ursulas is going to come up. You'll see I'm having a watch party. And yeah, that's it. It's a watch party. And so you can actually see the video there on my page.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah, right now. Thank you, Miss Margot, for joining. Miss Joyce is on. Butch is on. Steve McNair. Hey, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
Oh, yeah, we got a couple people in there.
Okay, so be looking out for
also remember, they can go to your page, your Facebook page, Keisha Thompson, and actually see it there as well.
Shut the front door.
Yes, it's closed.
Well, let me see.
And I'm sorry, you guys, we keep looking down because we have multiple devices. So we're looking up and looking down to see what's going on.
Okay, so in regards to the film, was there something that was in the film that you had never seen before, never experienced? It was kind of new to you?
Well, of course, the Pimp Game is new to me because that's not my life. Yeah, for real. But the actual, okay, how can I say this? Actually seeing how women create the monster of a pimp. That was completely, that was new to me. If we go back to the molestation and the and his mother's action, that created the disrespect and the degradation of women in general right there.
Right.
And I mean, as a woman, we have to take responsibility for that. That our actions do come with consequences. Even as a mother like myself, I mean, I have to look at the things that I do, how they affect my child. You know, even though I have a girl, but still, I mean, I can the choices I make can affect how she look at men. You know, right. So just seeing that, the fact that his mother didn't take responsibility for her actions. She told his first wife, you know, baby, don't marry him. He ain't no good. And this is what she said, baby, don't marry him. He ain't no good. But she did not mention the fact, you know, he's no good because of the choices I made.
Right.
He's no good because of my actions, you know, but at some point when you become an adult, you have to take responsibility for your actions. So, you know, I'm not negating that he did take responsibility for his actions, but his mother took no responsibility for her actions. You know, she just told this girl, stay away from him. He's no good. I think that also, it's just the fact that his father, and they really don't go in depth with it in the documentary. They go in depth with it in the actual book. But in the book, his father left his family.
Right.
And I think he was about 5 when he left. And then later on, he sees him again when he's about 12. And then he sees him again when he's 20. So when he sees him again when he's 20, his father is like trying to pick up like where he left off at. And I think that's the problem. That was a problem back then, especially, and even now, but back then, I think that was a problem with Black men. I think a lot of Black men didn't know anything about being a father. If we have to go back and really think about it, slavery, I mean, these people had just been freed, you know, and for a Black man to understand his role as a father or as the head of the house, this is something completely different. This is something completely new. So for him to come back several years later, and this man is 20 and he's trying to tell him what you need to do in your life and blah, blah, blah. Slim, I swear Slim, Robert Beck, he's not listening to him.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong, but really you can't just jump back in where you left off at and think that everything is just going to be hunky-dory. So I think that, you know, once again, his parents took no responsibility for their actions as far as where he is, what his actions cause, what their actions cause, and the consequences of it. And Iceberg Slim did. He did. He took responsibility for his actions, period. But his parents, of course, did not. And so I think that was very disheartening. I know that, I mean, I can play that back in my life. I knew that as a parent, I wanted to be different. And so I wanted to apologize when I did something wrong to my child.
Right.
And parents, and to me, it's very humbling. When you're apologizing to your 17-year-old child, but it feels good to know you doing it a little bit different. You know? But his parents did not take responsibility. And I think that just the creation of the monster by the women, that was, yeah, to actually see how it played out. I mean, we never see that. We never see that I mean, I've never seen it. Maybe someone else has, but I've never seen it.
Right.
Yeah. So what about you? Something you've never seen before that you saw in the movie.
You know what I thought was dope though was like his resilience, right? He made a choice, true. But to be able to admit, like I was wrong, what I did wasn't cool, but he did the work.
Yeah.
He thought about, okay, where did this come from? Why did I get into this position that I am? Why did I make the choices that I made? And he did the work. He did the root work. This is what happened when I was a kid, right? This is what I saw growing up. And again, he's an innate intellectual. So he was very, very keen on just remembering all of the memories, everything that happened. And you have to be, for me, to be able to regurgitate a book. Okay, let's be clear. But yeah, just his response. Like, even when he got knocked down, you know what I mean? It's like, stuff need to be done. Let's go. Let's get it. So he made a way out of no way. You know what I mean? Like, for a pimp, and was highly successful in it. And so when his pimping day was going, and this was so cold though, he knew he was out of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that. He gracefully bowed out.
Everyone was dead.
Yeah, but he also said he was an old pimp. You know, he couldn't hang with these young cats that was out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know, I don't care what anybody say, we're nothing without help next to it. So his wife, you know, his wife helped him, hey, yo, write a book.
Yeah.
And look what came of it.
Right.
You know, not only did it tell his life story, there was Trick Baby came into was a featured film.
Right.
You have all of these artists and
white folks,
all kinds that were influenced.
All kind of movies came from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I thought that was really dope, especially for that particular generation, to say, hey, look, I did this wrong. And I don't want this for the next generation. To even go to as far as to protect.
Why you got all kind of sounds going on back there?
You know, they go so far as to protect his face, to protect his, you know, cover his face in order to protect his family.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the things that you asked me. You were like, why did he cover his face? Because so in the documentary, he was being interviewed on the show. And so he was like, why is he covering his face?
Right.
I said, he got a wife with 3 kids. That's why he wrote on all his books under the name Iceberg Slim.
Right.
You know, not under his government name, as they call his government name. All of them are under Iceberg Slim. So he didn't want his family, or people to know what what his life was like in the past. Yeah.
So hey, Carla, she said humbling but necessary. Absolutely. Hey, Mel with 2 L's. Kevin with Shar, what is going on? He says owning up to fault is hard. So is doing the work. Absolutely.
We have hey to Jessie, my sister-in-law, and Marlene Martez, Miss Margot. Hey, Miss Margot, she gave us a hand wave. And don't forget, you guys, we're taking all kind of questions or statements that you want to make, or questions that you may have.
Right. I want to talk about this statement here though. So Kevin says, owning up. Where you at? Owning up to fault is hard, and so is doing the work. So it kind of goes back to what you were saying too, as being a mother and having to apologize, you know, feeling the need, the desire to apologize to your 17-year-old. It's important, but also going back to redo the work. And I do believe that's many times our biggest fault, right? Because doing the work means you may have to relive some stuff. I mean, whatever lie you've been living is going to be totally different for what your future holds. And that's hard.
You just imagine when his kids found out what he used to do. And he had 1 boy and 3 girls.
Right.
Said in the movie, he thinks that God was punishing him by giving him 3 girls. But just imagine that, you know, his girls will find out what he did, and he had to explain to them, you know, his life.
Right.
Yeah.
It says, what was his pimp name? Iceberg Slim.
And he got the name because he was in a club and somebody started shooting in the club, and he didn't move. And so he had a hat on, and the bullet went through his hat. One of the bullets went through his hat, and he was smooth with it. And so one of the guys came back, one of the hustlers came back, said, "Boy, you ice cold. I got your name, Ice Cold Slim, Iceberg Slim." So that's where he got his name from, because he was cool. He took off his hat, looked at it, and that was it, and kept it moving.
Kevin Richard, he said, "Had you ever read White Folks?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read. I started reading Iceberg Slim's book when I was 18. I was in my sophomore year in college. I prefer Donald Goines, but I was introduced to Donald Goines through Iceberg Slim. So I've read all of his books.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we have here. Oh, hey, Alicia.
Hey.
Okay, so question. Was there something about the film you did not understand?
Okay, I'm taking off my church lady hat. Okay. I just can't understand the concept of being a hoe. I can understand a prostitute. Okay. I can understand the concept of being forced into that, but and when I say forced, I mean either by, somebody just taking you, kidnapping, like sex trafficking. I do understand that. And I can also understand going through a traumatic sexual abuse and in your life as a teenager or youth or whatever, and your life wind up, what is it? Going through the cycle of being in that position. I understand that.
Right.
But if you have never been sexually abused, I don't understand how you get there. And also in the actual book, one of his hoes, if you want to call it that, one of his hoes, her name was Christy, she was sexually abused. And she was sexually abused by her father, her birth father. Her mother died. And her birth father moved her room, and he told her, "You're gonna come sleep with me." And you know what wound up happening. And so I understand how she got into their life.
Right.
And she got pregnant. But if you've never been sexually abused, that is, I'm stuttering. I don't understand how you get there. That I just didn't understand. I also didn't understand. I don't understand how a Black man who loves their mother and have seen the nurturing or experienced the nurturing of a Black woman, how you can degrade women. Don't understand that at all. Those are the things I just didn't understand. And I'm not saying that he hated his mother, because he loved his mother.
He did. He really did.
Loved his mother. I mean, till the day she died, he loved his mother. But we do know from previous experiences of his life how he got to where he was. But it just made me think about other men, as far as Black men that we see, that we're experiencing today, how you can degrade Black women, and you've experienced the love of a Black woman. So that made me, and that wasn't in the movie, but just made me really think about that.
Right. I mean, you kind of covered all of the bases. You kind of, yeah.
You said right? At least he said right?
Yeah. I mean, I agree, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I know it's not much. It's like it's not often, but I mean, you think about a woman. One of the interviews in the documentary, I can't remember his name, but he said the same thing. Like, how do you convince a woman to sell her body? You know what I mean? No disrespect, but it was just literally, how do you do that? And from the eyes of a pimp, they were able to do that cunningly. So that would be something I would want to explore too, because to go to kind of that on there. What?
He didn't physically force any of them into it.
No. You know, but to go back to what Chris Rock even said in the film, people are entranced with those who make money not really working, right? And I'm kind of paraphrasing. So you think about the glorification of a pimp. Iceberg said it. It was the glory, it was the power, it was the allure, the charisma of the pimp, and the recognition. Like, this is who I'm with, this is who I'm connected to, right? So it's some sort of self-validation in that itself. And then you didn't necessarily need an education, right? You didn't need any schooling. You're just kind of using what you had in order to make what you needed. Not to say
I don't want to split if this is my life. I desire not to be giving what I'm earning on my back. I don't want to share it.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
but that's not everybody's story though, right?
Yeah.
So, but when you are the same thing with his mom,
you got to think
about, she had everything she needed with Henry.
Yeah.
He had everything. He got her business. They had shelter, a house. They dressed up nice. They was revered. They had all of that. And yet and still, she admired the allure of the pimps. Like they said, the pimps and the hoes that came to her salon. Nice. They was revered, Right? So that's what that's what she was attracted to.
But she was attracted to that's what I was going to ask you. So you think she was attracted to the lifestyle, or was she attracted to what? Did she have desires to be a hoe, or
well, what's the difference?
There's a difference.
It's all, for me, it's all a part of the lifestyle though. So the allure of it, and
but remember, Steve was not a pimp. Steve was a hustler. So my question, was she attracted to the hustle game, or was she attracted to the allure of it?
I don't know. I think to me it's one and the same. I mean, a hustler is just a watered down pimp.
Okay, all right.
You pimping in one form of fashion.
Okay.
But it had to be the allure, just the thrill of it. Because Steve didn't have nothing. Steve absolutely had nothing at all. You know what I mean? But the other guy, I think she kind of viewed him as kind of weak though. Henry. He even got down on his knees and begged for her to come back.
Girl, ladies, this man provided. He took her game to another level.
Right.
And she got bored. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. I don't know. I kind of think it was the allure, but I also think it was the, she got bored. I think that, and also it mentions that she wasn't attracted to him. You can grow to love him. I think it was also just she didn't have to fight for it. You know, she didn't. He pursued her. But as a woman, I want to be pursued. I don't want to be chasing after no man. So that's why I was asking you. So what do you think it was? But you think it was just the whole allure of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Carla says we're in a different time and a different social frame of mind. Women weren't as independent as we are now in their thinking nor economically. And she also think it was the allure.
I don't know. I kind of think that women are just as independent now as they were back then. I really do. Because even if we compare it, women were coming from slavery from that time. And so the whole definition of who you are, they had no clue who they were. So I think we talked about this earlier. They were just trying to make it. However they needed to make it. So to me, that provided the stage of the independent woman. So I think we were, as far as women, we're, from then to now, we're kind of on that same playing field. except that, you know, women now are trying to be a boss. You know, I think it's the same thing. We're trying to be a boss and make it and do our own thing. Back then they were the boss and they were just trying to make it. So I don't know. I kind of think we're on the same playing field.
Okay.
So Keisha.
Yes.
What else you want to talk about in the movie, in documentary? What stood out to you the most?
Just a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, definitely just a story. I believe that it was well crafted, well put together. Mm-hmm. It gave a good synopsis of who he was, absent of reading the book. Mm-hmm. The book is definitely a must read. From what I haven't finished the book, but from what I started, it's definitely something that should be in everybody's bookshelf, you know.
Okay, can I ask one of the questions that you asked me?
What?
Can I ask you one of the questions you asked me?
I don't know what I asked you.
So you asked me, why are all his wives white?
I probably did. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Asking you that question, but I probably did.
So yeah, wife number 1 and 2 are white. So have you figured out why?
No.
Can anybody in the audience tell us why? Or what they? I said, or can anyone in the audience tell us why?
Well, why don't you tell us why?
I don't know. That's my question. I'm asking y'all first.
Oh, I don't know. But hold on, let me finish this though. Mm-hmm. But what I do think though, with the movie, it gave I think about his daughters and the effect of what his lifestyle had on his daughters. Mm-hmm. And his wife and ex-wife. Because what you often see is one marriage gets the short end of the stick or gets the brunt of everything. So it seemed like the first marriage kind of got the brunt of everything. Mind you, we don't know everything that happened within the marriage based off the documentary. Mm-hmm. But by the time, you know, he was married the second time, it was I'm here. You know what I mean? It was his final stages, his final days of his life. But
he didn't have any money by then.
He barely had it in his first marriage, right?
Well, in the first marriage, yeah, he had a little money.
But when he had the money, he didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know how to spend it. He didn't know how to provide, you know. And according to the ex-wife, the kids were just the kids. She the one that took
right
care of him, according to her.
And remember, she typed his first manuscript.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. But also one of the things I wanted to point out in then maybe we can answer the question about the wife was he had 3 girls. The first child was a son that when he met his first wife, she was on their first date, he found out she was pregnant. Mm-hmm. But he raised the son as his own. But with the girls, 2 of them OD'd. Okay, and so one of them is she's one of the executive producer on this actual documentary.
Right.
So yeah, so I thought that was kind of shocking because I feel like they kind of went down the same path as him from a drug standpoint because he got hooked on coke, heroin, I mean just everything. You know,
he did. Yeah, he really did.
You know that he actually got clean.
Right.
I feel like they just followed his path.
Right.
No.
They did. Yeah, you could definitely see. And again, it goes back to what we were saying, how the actions of the adults play on into the children, right? Yeah. But once you find out what that is, you have to decide, you have to make a choice on what route you're going to take.
And also in the film, they would not admit that he started pimping again after he wrote they were like, he was not a pimp. Our mother was crazy. She would not have allowed him. And the mother was like, he was still pimping.
Mm-hmm.
He was still, even after he wrote the book, the mother admitted he was still pimping. But his daughters, and I don't know if that's that, you know, daddy's little girl, you know, daddy can do no wrong, but they would not admit to him doing that at all.
Right.
You know,
that is so true.
Yeah. So Keisha, I gave you a little bit more little time. Have you thought about what I said? What I asked
you? No, I haven't. Do you have an answer for it?
I don't want to give my answer online live.
Oh, well, you asked the question. I wish you would have thought of that before you tried to call me out on it.
How can I say this and keep it nice?
So you don't have to if you don't have a way to say it.
Okay, so this may start a little the spirit of confusion, and maybe our guests jump in before I can get it out. Maybe that has to do with first of all, how can I say this and then not be mean? He never selected or went after white women that were. He selected white women that were at his level or under his level.
In comparison to?
He never selected like educated white women. He selected poor white trash.
Oh.
Keisha want to jump off the screen. I mean, that's what he selected.
So what about the black women that he prostituted out?
Under his level. Somebody that he can mentally dominate.
Okay.
Oh, and then also we found out also in the documentary, he wound up going to Tuskegee for a year and he got kicked out because he was selling moonshine, but he was there. He went on a full scholarship. His mother wanted him to become an attorney. And I really think he could have been a great attorney.
Sure.
I really think he could have. But I think that he selected women that were that he could mentally, because he never was physical with them. He was only physical with one of them. I can't even remember her name. But he wasn't physical with them, but he always selected women that were that he could mentally, he can run game on. And that included white women. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I think that's all women, to be honest with you. I think if especially, I mean, if you really look at it, like if you think about
and then I just look at it also
right? Manipulation. If you know the history of someone, you can capitalize on that.
Right. So and that's what he always did.
Right. If you knew they've been physically abused, something any kind of way, you capitalize on that.
Right. But yeah, that's when he got all of his God, I can't remember the guy's other pimp name that schooled him. He said, when you get a hoe, you need to get their life story. You need to find out everything about them before you take them on. And that's what he did. And so that's what I think. It was strictly manipulation. I think it was he mentally tried to dominate them. He wasn't trying to get somebody that was on his same level. And that included, his wives too. But I think his first wife, recognized game, because she left him. Because she told him, I'm not going to be
she was a pimp.
I'm not gonna let you pimp me. I'm not one of your hoes. And I need you to go get a job or write some more books. And so he didn't do either one. So she left him.
Right. Now the second wife,
she wrote him a letter.
Well, she knew what she wanted. So
right. Yeah, but that's thirsty. She wrote him a letter. That's what the kids said. That was called thirsty. She wrote him a letter and he responded back. And boom, they're married. And boom, he died.
Right.
And when he died, who did they call? Wife number one. So I think it was just about the mental manipulation. Who could he get to and actually, work their brain?
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree.
That's what that was.
So how would you rate the movie? Wine, A meal or a bowl of popcorn?
I would say wine.
Why wine?
Because it's a chill movie. It's not it's a chill movie. It's not a, I can pause it and I can go get some more wine or get some more hummus and chips. It's not a, clutch my pearls kind of movie. So it's just a chill movie. I think it is better if you read his book, before, because you get more detail in the books. With the book Pimp, or with the documentary, that he really doesn't go in depth with his life as a pimp. He touches on, just some of his stories. But in the actual book, you go in depth. And then if you read that and then actually get to watch the documentary, you can see him and see the transformation of his life, his mother and his wives and his children. So, and then the people that he's actually influenced. So
right.
I would say a glass of wine.
I would agree. I would say it's definitely a glass of wine. You just kind of sit back and chill with it. Put on the captions just in case you had I had to, so I can understand what was going on. Like, what just happened? I would absolutely agree though, because the book gives you more detail into those major keystones in his life. So you kind of like, okay, but definitely a wine moment. And I thought what was really dope was how much how much Iceberg Slim, Robert Beck, influenced so many people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just influenced so many people that even in his time, given everything that was going on, he didn't get his just due when it came to his writing. Right. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I would definitely say a glass of wine or grape and Henny.
Well, one of the things I do want to point out is now his books are under Cash Money content. That's one of the things that we mentioned on our social media feeds, is that his books are in reprint, but they are published by Cash Money content. So I thought that was great. I actually started reading books by Black authors because my father, and hopefully he's listening, forced me to read books, and I wanted to be becoming an avid reader, but it was my grandmother that introduced me to Black authors.
Awesome.
So and so that's what really pushed me over. She didn't tell me about Iceberg Slim. She's more of the Alice Walker kind of, face. It wasn't until I became like 18, 17 that I learned about Donald Goines and Iceberg Slim. So yeah. But yeah, check out Cash Money content. That's the publishing company, and they are his new publishers.
So we have a special guest tonight that we're so excited to bring on to talk a little bit more about what we've been talking about in regards to Iceberg Slim. So we are going to bring our guest in and give him a nice warm welcome. See. Quan, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hey, how you doing?
What's happening though?
Hey, you want to turn your camera on so we can see you?
I'm sorry, I thought it was on.
No,
Damn, I'm good now.
Hey, what's up?
What up?
Hey. Wait a minute, where are you right now?
I'm home.
No, what state are you? Jersey?
What?
New York? Where you?
I'm in New Jersey right now.
New Jersey. Okay. All right, thank you. I know you're a few hours ahead of us, but that's all right. I have to give you one of the dopest introductions because
let me hear it. Hear it.
Come on. Okay, everybody that's listening, we want to thank y'all. We have on the spot is crime novelist. Let's be clear. Crime novelist Quan in the building. He has over 20 literary works, and that's just the start of it. So we're gonna get how many?
Like 40.
Come on.
Like 40, because I write as a white woman also. I write under.
No, you did not tell us that. No.
I don't tell nobody that.
Oh snap! Okay, we'll talk about that off air.
Oh, that's fly. That is fly. Some of his works, just to name a few, is Gangsta. I know this is one of your first, and I know you
That was my very first.
Hear about it all the time, but we're going to talk a little bit about that and what else, all the others you have. We have Street Dreams, Section 8. We have the series Animal, which 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have The Fix. We have Diamonds and Pearls, Hoodlum 1 and 2, and The Diamond Empire. He has been featured in Vibe magazine, Pages, The Library Journal, Entertainment Weekly, The New York Press, and Time magazine. He is also Essence #1 bestseller author. Let's be clear, okay?
Yes.
He's represented for that. He is a recipient of 2012 and 13 Street Lit Book Award medals for his adult fiction, Eviction Notice, as well as Animal. He has contributed his intellect in the documentary of Iceberg Slim, Portrait of a Pimp, and gave very, very good insight on that with us as well. And also, he is a reoccurring guest on TV's One's Celebrity Crime Files. He lives in the good state of New Jersey. I had an opportunity to visit there once.
You ain't missing nothing. I'm from New York. I live in New Jersey because when everybody when they finally started to get up a little bit, they moved from New York to New Jersey.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, New York was everything for me.
I love my city. Oh man.
It was so dope. But we want to thank you so much for being on the line, taking time out.
No worries.
Our viewers, so thank you. So I'm gonna go right into it because
let's go.
Want to go with you. So as far as the documentary, because we're gonna start there first. How did you get involved with being a part of the documentary and giving your spiel to it?
That is such an insane story. They were doing this documentary. I knew nothing about the documentary.
Okay.
They were doing this documentary on Iceberg Slim, right? And everybody who like they went to, whether it was a publisher and all the way, was like, you need to talk to Kawan. Because like the good folks in these magazines were saying like, oh, the legacies of Donald Goines and Iceberg Slim were preserved in this young man. But this was at a time when I was like a hermit. Like I didn't come out. I didn't really do a whole lot. So people kept saying like, yo, you need to talk to Kawan. So George ended up getting in contact with somebody who knew me. And they put us in contact, right? And he was telling me like, George Generosa.
Okay. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So, and he was like, yo, everybody I'm talking to is saying that I need to talk to you. Who are you? I'm like, come sit with me and find out.
Hey.
So I was only supposed, and this is the same thing that happened with Celebrity Crime Files. I was only supposed to have a small little part in the documentary. But when we got to talking and stuff, they were like, yo, man, like you are just a wealth of information. And so they came to my house with a film crew. And I lived in Newark at the time. So they came to my house with a film crew and they set up George and his homeboy, and we just talked. Like we sat up on in front of the house on the steps and we just talked. And they were just so amazed. Like I just knew so much stuff about not only the writers, the writer, Iceberg Slim, but his history, his come up in the industry. Like the industry and with the industry, because believe it or not, a lot of the stuff that was going on back then with them is still going on now. So I just knew a lot. And so they were like, yo, we like talking to you. And when I saw, and I didn't know that they had used so much of the footage from me until I saw the documentary.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you read your first Iceberg Slim novel?
How old was I?
Mm-hmm.
I was, you know what? When I started reading Iceberg Slim and Donald Goines, I was already in my 20s, believe it or not. Very early 20s. Late, but I didn't, because I didn't know. Like my mom had a bunch of books, but I'm not paying them no mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I had somebody had bought me a copy of Daddy Cool. Now when I read Daddy Cool, I was like, yo, because this was my thing. I didn't want to write about my life circumstances because I was embarrassed. I didn't think, and everybody that, even when I was trying to shop gangster, everybody was saying there was no market for it. So I was like, I was getting kind of embarrassed to write about what I come from, what I've been through, and whoop-de-whoop, so on and so forth. So when I read Daddy Cool, and then I read Horizon. No, I read Daddy Cool and then Horizon, either or. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, he's talking that this was Donald Lawrence. He's talking that talk and so on and so forth. So then I went and got Pimp. And I said, oh, this is it. Because they were telling raw stories about their come up, about where they were from and about the things that were going on. And it was no shame. And they painted the words so beautifully. And that was the thing. The painting of the words was so poetic.
Right.
That there was no shame. Like I didn't like, and like I said, my thing was shame. I didn't want people to know, well, I went through this or been through that. I felt that was shameful, and like all the big writers who were out at the time, they weren't writing about that. Mm-hmm. So I felt like whatever they kept in their private life, they kept in their private life. Mm-hmm. But Iceberg Slim said, youngster, put it on the table.
That's what I was going to ask you. How did it affect your writing? So it just made you open up to.
It opened up like, it's like tapping into the God particle.
Yeah. Come on.
It's like tapping into the God. Y'all gotta excuse me if I'm moving through the kitchen, but I'm in here cooking because the schedule was just throwing off a little bit.
But that's what we do. We eat our food. Yeah. We talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
So it was like tapping into the God particle because once I started writing about where I was from and what I went through, it became that much easier. Right. And then again, like I said, how do you turn this? I don't even know how to turn this pressure cooker off. And then like I said, it was like, I'm trying to think of how best to articulate it. It's like, when you can write about what you come from, where you're from, and what's real to you, it comes across so much more natural.
Right.
So much more natural. And then people were responding to it like, I'm going through that too, because like when you're going through certain things from certain walks of life, you feel like you're the only person in the world who's going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then when you see other people, like when Donald goes to Iceberg Slim, I said, yo, they said what about what? And the black girl lost, and the swamp man, I got into all that, and then the Pimp and the mama Black Widow, and it was just a whole other world. I said, these people are writing about. This is what's happening.
Right.
This is what's happening. So that was like, that's what it unlocked for me.
Yeah. So you saw, of course, you saw the documentary, and you probably kind of already answered this. So did you find yourself really identifying with Iceberg Slim?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? Do you remember that scene? In the book, I'm assuming you guys are all familiar with the book.
Mm-hmm. I am. Keisha hadn't read it all, but I
hadn't read it all.
Do you remember when his homeboy, and I can't think of his home because it's been so many years, his homeboy, his best friend was in jail.
Party Time.
And I think, no, not Party Time. Listen, when I tell you the scene, you're gonna know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And Iceberg Slim said he only had like $2,500 to his name after, like, he started. Did his thing with the Pimp.
Went to jail.
When he went to the check cashing place to send his friend some money who was in jail.
Yeah.
And he only had like $2,500, and he sent his friend like a stack. He sent his friend like what? And I said, damn. He said, I'm flat on my ass. This is all I got left. But I'm gonna take care of my man.
Right.
And it'll be like that. And I said, shit. I said, yo, excuse my language. I said, you looking in my window. You looking at my window. You sitting with the bank teller at my bank, and she's telling you what I got in my account. But to have been in that position where you like, you know what? I might only got $2,500, but I'm gonna send him 15, but because I'm out here, I can make it back.
Right.
I can take whatever. I can take the 1,000 that I didn't send him, and flip it and make it back.
Right. All right. So let's switch gears.
Yeah.
Okay. Bruh.
Oh, that's my baby right there.
Bruh.
Yo.
Yo. Okay.
Gangsta is ridiculous.
Oh my God. Y'all read Gangsta?
Yeah, it's
okay, go ahead. Okay, let me go. First of all, I'm mad at you.
Why? Oh, I know why.
Why you had to kill my boy? He got out the game. You know, he was trying to get his life. I was so
wait a minute. So real quick, because I saw a few interviews that you did, and one interview you said that you don't have any happy ending.
Damn.
None.
Yeah. So I was
None.
like, I was trying to gear myself up for it. You never know what to expect because it's such a page turner. But I can't be too mad at him on that one. No.
I was mad.
And that was my very first book. And you have to understand, when I started writing Gangsta, I literally wrote Gangsta sitting at my mother's bedside as she was dying from cancer. That's where that book was written. So the elements in the raw emotion that you get from Gangsta, you'll never see from me again.
Oh,
Never, because the place that I was at was so dark. It was such a dark place. Because I always tell people like this, and I'm just really open with it. I grew up in the crack era. Everybody in my house was on crack, with the exception of my grandma. Everybody in my house was on crack. My mom was messing with crack. My dad was a dope fiend. So we didn't have the best relationship growing up, right? And so like it was like when I was older and she got sick with the cancer, and then I had to sit like we had just started establishing a relationship when she got a diagnosis. And I was like, this is so unfair. This is so foul. Like I never had my mother. The 80s took my mother from me. So now in the 90s or early 2000s, that I'm starting to get, I'm understanding my mother and I'm getting a relationship. Because I'm not that old. And I'm like, God is so unfair. And I started writing this book, Gangsta. Like you see Lulo's life was just so sad.
It was.
So sad. Every time he tried to do right.
Every time.
Something happened.
Man.
Yeah.
Because I want to see Martina. Oh.
Ooh. So you got to re-gut her. You got to re-gut her. You got to re-gut her. And it was just bad. And when I wrote this book, and I ain't gonna hold y'all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I was in a drunken tailspin because my mother was dying and there was nothing I can do about it. No amount of money I can throw at the problem, there was nothing I can do about it.
But that's real talk.
So I drink a lot. I'm talking about like a lot. Like a lot. Like man, the wine don't drink a lot.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can wrap my mind around when I was in this drunken tailspin was writing. So I wrote this book, Gangsta, and the whole thing with me even becoming aware of publishing was my mom. My mother was a writer. I was not a writer. My mom was a writer. So I was trying to help her get some stuff out that she wanted to do. And that's what even brought my attention to publishing. Like I didn't know nothing about publishing. I didn't want to know nothing about publishing. My mom was a writer. But the irony in all of this is as she was getting sicker and she was getting weaker and she was getting closer to the end, my gift got stronger. Like it started out with me scribbling the concept on a paper bag and then writing a notebook, and then I'm on a computer and I'm typing with one finger. One finger. And the next thing you know, I'm going. And one of my friends said to me one day, we was at the house, and we were watching, I think we were watching a game or something. And my homeboy said to me, when did you learn how to type? And I stopped and I said, oh, I'm typing.
You didn't even realize.
I didn't realize it. Like I said, it started with the pencil, then one finger, then two fingers. So before my mom died in September of 2002, Gangsta came out in December.
Wow.
So she never got to see it, but she knew. Because she was the one telling me like, go. And so that's why like me, I'm a stickler. People say I'm like an old man when it comes to the state of publishing in the business of writing, because this is not my dream. Can you imagine living someone else's dream? Something that you never wrapped your mind around. You never wanted nothing to do with, but you know somebody else loved this so much and wanted this so bad and they died before they can touch it. and then you get in it, and you have the nerve to be good at it.
That's good.
That's deep, though, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's
You
good.
right there at the precipice, seeing the promised land.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, and I write every book with the knowledge in the back of my head, like this can be the one to take you out. Like me, even if you have a conversation with my editors, they'll tell you I'm my own worst critic, because when I turn my books in, I refuse to look at them. I don't want to read them, because I always think my books are the worst piece of garbage ever created, because this is not for me. This is not supposed to be for me. This is not mine. I have no right to this. No right to this. I'm a fraud. I'm perpetrating. This is not my gift. This is not my dream. So who am I to reap the benefits and the accolades of this? So I have to be more diligent. I have to go harder than everybody else, because I feel like I don't deserve it.
What about current situations that are going on right now? Do you write, or do your books contain any current life situations like, COVID-19? I mean,
I mean, I don't know about current. My book,
the crack era.
Yeah, my books always contain life elements, but I'm not somebody who will take like COVID-19 and write a book about it. If it's natural, if it's something that's natural to the storyline, then yeah, like crack, AIDS, HIV, young girls being fast, stuff like that. If it's natural to the storyline, we just saying because COVID is something everybody is aware of and everybody remembers, I'm going to write about it now, because it's still too fresh. It's still too real for me. This is goddamn Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that's why I haven't touched it. Just me freaking, like, you never know. 3 years from now, I may write a book that one of the characters made, but for me to say I'm going to cash in on this, I can't do it. It doesn't sit well with me. And I seen the book, and I made a joke one day in my reader group on Facebook, because somebody asked me the same question you guys just asked me. Are you going to write a book about COVID? And I said, nah, I'm going to leave it to somebody else that writes about being quarantined with their COVID thug or whatever. I made a joke, and somebody really wrote that book. Like, I think it was called Quarantine. I don't even know the name of it. It's like Quarantine with a Thug or something. It was just crazy. And I said, my God. And I said, you wrote this book. I said, you wrote this book because you don't have anybody close to you that had COVID.
Come on.
You don't know anybody close to you that COVID. Because when it hit close to home,
absolutely,
that's what makes it real. Seeing it on the news is not real.
Right.
I mean, you understand, you're aware of it, but when it hits close to home, when somebody you know, somebody who you're around, somebody who you regularly kick it with, and you find out they got COVID,
yeah,
and it's 50-50 as to whether they're going to live, because it's not just attacking elderly people anymore. It don't discriminate. It doesn't have no age no more. So that's kind of what makes it real to you. And you like, shit, this is the devil's work.
Yeah.
So that's good to know, because I mean, even just reflecting back on Gangsta, let me ask you this, and this is going to lead into my next question. I believe you said Lulo. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what she said his name was.
Don't tell him.
What she said, Lulak?
I sure did.
Everybody says that because L-O-C is Loke.
I lived in LA. And
so you know. So yeah, you know.
You said he was crazy, so I said, duh, it's not Lulak, it's Luloke.
Yeah.
You know what I thought about? I thought about Lokes, like the sunglasses. So, yeah.
Are Lokes sunglasses spelled with a K?
Huh?
The sunglasses, Lokes, are they spelled with a K?
No.
No, the pronunciation.
I got you.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, I know, right? So you identify with your characters.
Yes.
Most of the time. So how does that look? All the time. How does that look like now for your current works? Do you still take like a lot of life experiences, family?
Yes, absolutely. And if you read, like, let's go from gangster to, let's say, Lawless. We're not even going to include Raph, because Raph was just different.
Okay.
Lawless. So in book one, you have these dudes who's running around and they gangbanging, they're doing this, they're drinking all liquor. Even with the stuff that they're doing in the book, the things they're drinking, the things they eat, the places they're going, versus Lawless, right? And you have this dude, Q Savage, who's a lawyer. and is doing other stuff. So yeah, so personal experience always plays a part. And I think that as I grow, the stories grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So we're going to let you go. First of all, we truly appreciate you for
Wait,
coming.
wait, 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 wait.
But we want to ask you one more question.
Right,
You can
right.
ask me as many questions as you need to.
Wait a minute. What are you working on now? So we was.
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Bruh.
No,
Like
no,
that?
I have Black Lotus 2 coming out in November.
Yeah,
I have another book coming out after that. Well, I have two books coming out after that. The Reluctant King and Broken. But I have another book that I'm gonna put out. I don't want to put a date on it. I'm just gonna say that the book. I'm gonna put out one book before those two.
Okay.
And it's gonna blow your socks off.
Shut up.
Well, this was already. I know this is, the OG one. This was like
that. I mean, do y'all know the story behind Gangster and my fight for that book?
What was it?
We saw one interview where you mentioned that after your mom passed, you couldn't get any publishers to pick it up.
Yeah, right.
So, and I was telling Keisha, back in the day when my family and we used to go to New York, and we would see the authors on 125th Street.
I was out there, yeah.
And I told Keisha, I said, "Girl, I probably walked right past them."
You probably did.
I was so intrigued by the dude because my daughter, she's 17 now. I was so intrigued by the dude. She was intrigued by the dude talking about Newport. And she was like, "Mommy, why is he selling Newport?" I said, so I was trying to get her that I want to make sure I'm selling your books. But I told her authors used to be just all, as soon as you got off the train, one block down, boom, they was all there.
Yep, right there, all across 125th Street.
Yep.
In the Bronx, Queens, yeah. And I used to be out there
because that's where selling his books.
Look, I sold 80,000 copies of Gangster on that strip before I even knew what a major was.
Man,
that's hustle.
Right.
That's hustle.
But now this is the cold part about it. With Gangster, I was a new author. I didn't know any better. I didn't know get a lawyer. I didn't know nobody look at the contract. I just saw it because these are two things. Let me tell you something. And you can ask 100 authors that have signed 100 deals, and they're gonna all tell you the same thing. One of the first things they look at in the contract is how much they're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
So like me, I'm out there, I'm on a block, like I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time. And I looked at the thing on my contract and I'm like, you gonna give me how much? And my publisher not knowing at the time, I would have wrote 100 books for what they were gonna give me for one. Because I just saw this opportunity to pull me off the street.
Right.
And I did the book and we made lots and lots. We made a lot of money. Like self-publishing, we made a lot of money. And then, but money is the root of evil. Money brings out the worst. Money and death bring out the worst in people. And so things just started not to go well with the publisher. And I'm like, okay, I'll put you like this. Let's say if you're signing me, right? And I gave you a royalty check for $80,000, right?
Right.
But I kept $120,000.
Boy, bye.
You so happy to get the 80. You're not even thinking because there's so much money. You're not even thinking it's possible that you're being robbed.
Right.
I'm like, ain't no way in there. So when the stuff finally hit the fan, I'm like, I really made what?
Yeah.
And got what?
Yeah.
So, and this went on, like me trying to get the rights back, and with all of the authors from this publisher. With all of the authors from this publisher, I'm probably one of the only ones who not only got his rights back, but was able to flip it into a bag.
Oh, wow.
Because I just kept fighting. Like, I'm not going to sue you, I'm going to shoot you. I swear, these are the conversations that me and her used to have. Like,
right.
I'm like, I don't have $50,000 for a lawyer. So, but if I catch you, I'm going to whack you.
Right.
And she's like, well, if you come this way, then the same thing. It's just real ghetto, just real hood stuff.
Just ghetto. Y'all just ghetto.
But so, like 10 years later, we came back to the table, and she was like, "You are like a dog with a bone that just won't let go." I said, "I'm never gonna let go. I don't want no money. I don't want none of the back money that's owed to me. I just want my books. And we had a very, very amicable meeting. And I was able to get the rights back to my first 2 books, my babies. No hoopla, no hustle and bustle.
That's good.
So this is why to this day, like regardless of what people say about this publisher, I don't have anything bad to say about them because we went through what we went through. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I was able to get my stuff back. And then I took it and flipped it.
That's good.
Man.
I'm not gonna I really want to ask you why you left Cash Money, but we'll do that offline. No, we'll do that offline. We'll do that offline.
Do that offline. You still have your own publishing house?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of it?
Right to Eat Concepts.
Right to Eat Concepts. Okay, cool. I
know. Yeah, it's tattooed on my hand. Right to Eat. It's my lifestyle, how I live. Before it was a company, it was my lifestyle. If I don't write, I don't eat.
That's right.
Right. So I mean, I'm also interested in just like the inner workings of your brain, right? To have over 40 works, and I'm talking like you are. I had a friend, I asked him about you. He was like, man, he like hella popular. I said, what? He was like, yes. Like all of your writings are just, I mean, they raw, they gritty, but they so poetic at the same token, right?
Thank you.
Just eat off the plate with it. And it's not, it's like even just with, I'm gonna talk about gangster because I just really like gangster. And I gotta get my Quan books up.
Did you read Gutter? Y'all haven't read Gutter?
No, we haven't read Gutter yet.
Not yet.
Oh my God. Gutter's part 2 to Gangster.
Now is what you're saying.
So after Gangster, we gotta read Gutter.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I mean, he's
over. You got to because the way Gangster ended.
Yeah.
Gutter gotta be.
And let me tell you, let me sell you on why you need to read Gutter. Can I sell y'all real quick?
Okay, sell us.
So I wrote Gangster, right? And if you look at my first maybe 5 books, I didn't believe in sequels. So one night I woke up in a cold sweat and I had an idea for a story and I started writing it. So over 3 years, it took me I wrote a bunch of books in between that, but over 3 years it took me to write Gutter. Like in the cold sweat dream that I had was the end of Gutter. How it ends. That's the first time I started with the end of a book and went backwards.
Right.
And I always felt like Lulo, y'all knew Lulo. He was everybody loves Lulo. Mm-hmm. He's the good guy, him and Satin. And Gutter was just a monster and he never got to tell his story.
I love Gutter.
And so in the book Gutter picks up right after Lulo died. You remember the end of Gangster?
Yeah.
With the wheelchair?
Yeah.
It picks up from there.
Gutter.
It picks up from there.
Okay.
And he's just on 10. And it goes back to his roots in California. It tells the backstory so you understand a little better why he took, not just because it was his best friend, but the murder of Lulo meant it was such an affront to him. Mm-hmm. And he just he snapped. And Gutter. Well, I think in books I had the highest, but besides books written about the Holocaust, in 2008, I had the highest body count in the book.
Ooh.
One of
the way he just. I mean, Gutter just went in. It was just a switch.
You haven't seen anything until you read Gutter.
Well, one of the reasons why I liked it is because, and I think I feel like I relate to you because I'm originally from Detroit, and my mom and I moved to LA when I was 12.
What part? What part?
Lawson and Crenshaw, 8th Avenue.
Where you from? Oh, you from Crenshaw.
Yes, Lawson and Crenshaw, 8th Avenue.
Yeah. Oh, you was over in the 60s?
No, we weren't. We were 79. 79. Yeah. So, then I left LA and came to Texas to go to college. And so I feel like I was that bi-coastal child that knew both of them. So for him, I feel like I could just totally relate, when he left California and went to New York. And so I just really, really related to it. And I like Kenyatta because his family is rich. I mean, they're rich and they know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
why I can relate to Pinata.
You know the backstory behind that, though?
Butter. Huh?
You know the backstory behind that? You know, when I wrote Gangsta, I had just moved back from Carson.
Ah, okay. So you was in
I
the
lived in Carson.
You was in the
No,
suburbs.
listen. I lived in a hotel in Carson. You know that hotel, the Ramada on Dominguez by the IKEA Mall? Yeah, let me give you some history.
Okay.
Let her know.
Okay.
And
I
what I was out there doing, you said the Ramada. You were like, oh,
yeah, I know what you was doing.
we was out there going door to door, like selling books and magazine subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So what they would do, and I was part of a band crew.
Uh-huh.
So what they would do is in the morning, they would drop us off in like Compton or wherever and be like, we'll come get you in a few hours, see what you can sell. So I'm from New York. I don't know nothing about California. I'm from Harlem. I'm from Harlem. I think I'm the toughest thing in the world. I'm from Harlem. And the people that I met in these neighborhoods, like, they didn't buy no books and magazines. But I got a hell of an education. Like, I'm talking about the first time I do, like, all right, let me give you an example of what I mean. The managers at the place where I worked that would drop us off in these neighborhoods, they would say, you're too sour, you don't wear bright enough colors, okay, cool. So one day when we're going out to get dropped off in neighborhoods, I had my coat on, zipped up to the neck. So I said, I got something for them. I don't wear bright enough colors. All right, I got something for them. And when we get to the neighborhood, it might have been Hawthorne. I don't remember where they dropped us off at. I unzipped my coat and I had on a blood red tie.
Nah, bro. Mm-mm.
And it was a Crip neighborhood, and and we worked in teams. And the person I was with was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get us killed! You're gonna get us killed!" I said, "It's just a red tie."
No,
and
bro.
somebody pulled my coat and was like, "Yo, you trying to be funny?" And I said, "No, what do you mean?" And we had a conversation. And once they understood that I wasn't from there, this is when I started getting the real education. Like, I didn't make a lot of money, but I got a real education. They be like, "Look, you can't go here, you can't go there," because it's like in California. Yeah, because in California, you can cross the street and be in a different enemy neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah. Like like you can be in a Crip neighborhood here and cross the street and be with the Smalls and blood, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I met a lot of different people who were, and I'm in the hood. So I met a lot of different people who were tapped in and they schooled me as to what was going on. So it was all so fresh in my mind when I came back, because gangbanging was fairly new to New York. And as a New Yorker, like, if you're from New York, and when they started gangbanging in the 90s, we didn't respect that.
Yeah.
Because it's not a New York thing. Like, we had neighborhood gangs, like the Black Falcons and this, that, the other, but we did not have Bloods and Crips.
Right.
So when I went to California and I lived in California, and then I came back to New York however long later, I understood, like, it's a culture. And I was looking at people who were gangbanging in New York like, you don't even understand.
No, you don't even know.
You have no clue. Like, y'all just got put on the hood in jail, but they didn't give you the lit.
Right. Why they doing it?
Right.
Right. Exactly.
And so, and that's why I was like, and that's why I wrote Gangster. Yeah. And that's why Gangster took place in New York.
Yeah, because I like the fact that y'all educated the smaller cliques.
Right.
To why we're doing it, and that we're supposed to be united in this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was all about
community
protection.
Yeah, it's good to have that backstory to see how that transferred from the West Coast to the East Coast. The backstory for Gangsta, because I was wondering about that, because I didn't know.
And I was getting, like, I was even getting hate mail from the jail.
Turn your video up. There you go.
Yeah, not my what's going on. I was even getting hate mail from the jail because people thought that I was Crip. I'm not a Crip. I'm not a Crip, not a Blood. So, but the story was so convincing that people was like, he's a Crip pooping on Bloods. And I would get this mail from jail, like, you better not never come to jail. We're going to kill you. And
shut up.
Yeah. And even when I went back to California and I was kicking it with some of the people that I knew in California, they was like, well, the reason people feel like this is because you put certain things in there that if you wasn't from it, you ain't supposed to know that. But I'm just like writing about what I learned.
Right.
It was like my dissertation.
You ain't lying. For real. Because you would think that you I mean, the way the structure of the book, the setting, the language, you know what I mean? Everything about it sounds like you have firsthand knowledge.
Because it was fresh. I had literally just came back. I had just moved back to New York.
Yeah.
And when I was out there, I don't even know what I was working on. And what's this lady's name? It was a lady called what was her name? She was a writer. I gotta look her name up because I was in my travels doing this door-to-door sales. I met somebody that was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna connect you with this lady. She's a writer, and she's gonna hook you up." And so I said, "Okay." So we had a conversation, and she was like, "Give me $10,000. I'm gonna get you popping." I don't know no better. This is the first Black writer I ever met in my life. You need $10,000? I'm gonna go out there and get it. I'm gonna sell as many magazine subscriptions as it takes to get you this $10,000.
Come on.
And I fell short and couldn't get it. But even when I left, it was still fresh in my mind. Like, I need to do this writing thing.
So Keisha wanted to know. Keisha asked me what time frame was Gangsta. I thought, since you were still talking about pagers, I thought it was like early 90s.
No, 2000 and
no, not when you wrote it. Not when you wrote it. The time frame of the book.
The time frame. That's what I'm telling you. The time frame. I think the time frame was like 2000. And the reason why it was pagers in the book and not cell phones is because I had never had a cell phone yet. I don't think at that time.
Well, some of your people, everybody had cell phones, but you kept saying pagers. So I was like, maybe it's
but at that time, because I'm writing a book in 2000, but I still got a 90s mentality. Because I didn't have no pagers, I didn't have like all that stuff. I had never had access to that. I didn't have a cell phone. Oh God, I didn't have a cell phone until years later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let me. You got more question? You want me to ask him?
Well, what he thought? Well, this is what I want to know though. So I just want to do some action items. So we got Gangsta. We need to read Gut next.
Yes.
Okay. Animal. The Animal series seems as though that's got to be.
Yeah, you got to get that in there.
Okay.
But with Animal, that series spans maybe about 10 or 11 books.
Okay.
But it doesn't start from Animal 1. It starts from the Hood Rat series, Section 8.
Section 8. Okay, Section 8. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so trying to get the list now. Now, so we have the books. How can anyone find you, get in contact with you,
Google me.
up with you? What did you say?
Google me. No, but seriously, you can find me on Facebook, Kawan Writes, and I have my author page is Kawan the Writer. You can find me on Twitter, Kawan the Writer. You can find me on Instagram, Kawan I Am Legend. My website, Kawan Writes, is under construction right this minute.
Kawan Writes.
Yeah, I found him on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
One more question.
Sure.
So, and it's kind of funny. We've had this is our second show. So last month, 2 weeks ago, we had another guest that guest was from New York. So I think that was kind of
cool.
One of my girlfriends, her name is Rivka Gawart. She's a writer for the Associated Press.
I like her name.
Yeah, Rivka Gawart. I'm sorry,
that's a good name.
Rivka Gawart's Little.
That's a good name.
Yeah. So this is the question we ask at the end of every one of our shows. So, is this documentary this is our rating scale? Would you drink a glass? Okay, what you drink? First of all, what's your drink?
What do you drink? What's your drink?
It depends on what day of the week it is.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Maybe water on a Monday. No, I'm lying because I didn't drink water I didn't drink water yesterday. I'm like a Hennessy and whiskey guy.
Okay.
Hennessy is generally saved for the weekends, though. Maybe you might catch me. I may have a little whiskey during the week.
That's all.
So, okay.
Yeah.
This is the question. She was drinking Henny and grape juice, grapefruit.
I don't use chaser.
Oh, I have to have a chaser.
I don't. You disrespecting the liquor.
Ooh.
No, y'all play too much. Okay, so this is the question. So on these are our 3 rating scales. Is this documentary a shot of Henny, a meal, or some popcorn? That's your rating scale.
This documentary is give me the bottle and leave me alone. And you know, and that's crazy because we didn't really get. I mean, we talked about the documentary, but we didn't really talk about the documentary. And it's powerful, especially being on this side of the table in the publishing game. It's powerful, and the game has not changed damn near at all. Like, do you remember that scene? There's one scene in the documentary in particular. I think it was it Odie Hawkins, and he was complaining about the royalties and some money owed to him.
Yeah.
And the publisher was like, "Come here, come to the window. Let me show you something." And he was like, "I can throw a paperweight out the window and hit 10 of you." That's real.
Right.
That's real.
That's real. That's real. And this is why we have to kind of learn how to get it off the muscle and get it on our own. And I damn near cried when we saw that movie. I damn near cried because I went through so many similar things. So like that documentary, they did George and those guys. They did their thing and they did their due diligence and they did their research and they did an amazing job.
They really did.
And it's just so crazy that after all these decades, the publishing business still ain't changed.
Yeah. But I do think it's amazing that Holloway is closed down now.
Did I ever tell you about the response they gave me when I wrote them?
No.
Oh yeah, I did. No. He said, I know. Go ahead. I know. On one of the interviews, he said, yeah. Go ahead.
I wrote them an email, and again, I didn't know how to use it, and I wrote them an email because they were my favorite publishing house, and I loved all of their stuff, and I bought even the off-brand books. I bought them, and whoever it was that emailed me back was like, basically told me, "You are trash. Your work is trash. You should learn how to write an email before you even consider writing a book."
Wow.
I could have fell down and died. No lie.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
And that's what they told me, Holloway House. And I wish that I had kept that email. So I swear I wish I had kept it. But that's what they told me. You are trash. Your work is trash. Nobody's ever going to buy it. You don't even know how to write an email. Learn how to write an email before you try to submit a book. I swear on everything. My right hand, if I had a Bible, I'd lay my hands on it.
That's crazy.
And that's the irony of me doing the Iceberg Slim documentary and the Donald Goins thing on television when they had it on TV One, the Celebrity Crime Files.
Documentary too?
Yeah, Donald Goins, Celebrity Crime Files. It was on TV One. You could probably pull it up on YouTube because the service came. I was on there for like 2 seasons. I did Donald Goins. And,
I was over Iceberg Slam, but yeah.
Me too. Me too. But I think Donald, like I said, Donald Goins is what does the girl say? What does Lake K-47 say? Khalees is God, so is Beyonce. Donald Goins.
Yeah,
Donald Goins. That God. He got the God hand.
Business.
But Iceberg Slim ain't no slap. Iceberg Slim is the granddaddy. He is the father of us all.
Yeah.
But Donald Goins is like, and he was always the person who I aspired to. If Donald Goins wrote 25 books, I wanted to write 26. And here I am 40-something later.
Oh.
And still going. Because I got like 5 books coming out in the next 6 months.
See, that's something. Because you write to eat.
That's it. All day.
Shit. Yeah.
All day.
All day, every day.
All day, every day.
Twice on Sunday.
So much. Could we, look, this is what, could we invite you back?
Yeah.
Would you be open to that?
Yeah. Y'all just got to be clear with me on the time.
I said 8 o'clock. I didn't tell him Central.
Yeah.
I forgot. That was my bad.
I'm like, wait, I ain't getting no Zoom meeting notification.
So she's like, he's in the waiting room. I said, oh snap.
Yeah.
That
I'm like the special kid in the corner in the waiting room, like, there's nobody here. Come on. But no, we good. We got it worked out though. We good. Okay, so whenever you guys want to do it again.
This is our second show. We really want to have you back.
Okay, and I would like to come back.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. We really
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Wait a minute. What you cooking
Wait.
though?
Yeah, what you cooking?
We are having we having lobster mac.
Oh.
We are having shrimp. We are having what else are we having? And what? And salmon.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm a foodie.
You are a foodie. Have you been to Houston?
I think you bougie.
Yes. What? You crazy? Yes, I've been to Houston.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Let me tell you something. I was out there trying to track down barbecue spots one time, and I was like, "Look, I need an Uber driver to know where some barbecue." And I had, I always go ask the porter. The porter downstairs in the hotel lobby.
No.
I always find the porter and ask the porter where it's at.
Well, now you know us,
man.
Okay. So you holler at us when you come to Houston.
Yeah, I always come to Houston for the National Black Book Fair.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right there on what's that, Walters Road?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I come every other year. I come every other year.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna connect then. We're gonna connect.
Yeah, I'm a foodie. I'm looking for the rib and looking for the chicken. I'm unquestionably black.
I heard that. Well, thank you. Thank home. I believe that's your wife. Thank you so much for letting us borrow your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate y'all. I'll talk to you later, right?
All right. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right. That was awesome.
That was great. Hey, so we're going to end our show. But before we do that, I want to introduce our book of the month. Our book of the month is The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Bring that up close. So our next show, which will be on what?
I just saw this by Rashad. We forgot about asking him about him writing as a white woman. I completely forgot.
Okay, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna message him and find out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get the tea on that because I definitely got to hear about that. He's talking about 40 books. Okay, so so The Miseducation of the Negro. This is our book for the month. We will be discussing this book on. Oh, let me see yours. Okay, she has a different cover than I do, but it's still the same. So we will, Vanna Black. So we will be discussing this on our next show, which will be on August 17th. Is that the correct date, Key?
Yep.
Okay, August 17th. And so this time for our DWP, Dining with a Purpose, we are going to do a Zoom book club. What does that mean? That means that we're going to accept the first 10 people that want to join in on the discussion show. You will be in the little blocks on Zoom. So if you're interested in that, please message us. Yeah, the little block. So message us on Instagram. Or you can message myself. I am Ursula, Ursella, or you can message Keisha, which is District Key, Keie.
Kei.
Okay. So you can message one of us or both of us, and only the first 10 people. Right. So you have to have read the book, but we introduced the book on our last show. So Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. All right, that's going to be our next discussion.
We want to thank you all for joining us and being patient as we work the inner workings of technology and posting and living and all of that good stuff. Be on the lookout, like you said, on either one of our pages, IG, Facebook, Keisha Thompson. I am Ursula on all formats. Yes. IG is District Key, Kei. We'll keep you posted on our next shows, including the one that you just mentioned and the ones that will come thereafter. So again, as we get used to this, right? This is interactive. So we do invite you all to either read the book, go look at the art, or whatever the medium is for the upcoming show, and join us in on the conversation. Ask your questions, post your questions, and so we can all tag in and have this interactive discussion.
So Lenore, she's on our chat. She said, so the first 10 will be in the blocks and everyone else will view the video like today. Yes, that's true. Yes. Also, we are in the process of launching our Dining with a Purpose through all social media platforms. So they're up and running. So you can always go to any of them on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube.
Right.
But we have not launched them, but they are available. But yeah, launch. But in the future, we will be launching them and going live on them.
Yeah. So thank y'all once again for joining us. Stay tuned. Thank everyone who stopped by, sent a wave, had a question, tried to figure some things out. Thank you all so very much. Want to give a shout out to our other sponsors that we have. We have Universal Financial Service, hosted by owned by Ursula Williams. We also have Skincology by Miss Danita Q. Berry for all of your needs: facial, waxing, healing, any and everything that you need. Look up Skincology. She is the best out there as far as meeting all your esthetician needs. So thank you all. Have a good night. Once again, thank you to Kawan for joining us and answering the questions that we have. And we have more that we're definitely going to be asking and getting back with. Real down, cool brother out in Jersey. Check out Gangsta. Like, this is a 48-hour read, literally. And all of his works are superb just by reading the reviews along. So thank you all. E, thank you.
Thank you, Key.
Thank you. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye-bye, everyone.